for Mr. Tellos this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jonathan can't make it tonight, so he asked me to stand in to give you an update on our Q2 goals. I'll just run through the list and answer any questions that y'all may have for me. The first Q2 goal was to approve the location of the P&R maintenance facility. That is complete. So that's Park and Rec facility. We're processing that change order currently as it goes on now. The second is an update the council on the lighting project on the Southern Bypass. The power company will stake the locations next week and start underground work the week after. Project Panama project development agreement. The final draft will be done this week with input from the city attorney. The Project Panama bond issue moving forward to closing on the property approximately June the 27th, so later this month. The downtown lighting upgrades costs, sorry, it's loud. Cost briefing with discussion. Alabama Lighting discussion with division. We've gotten some input from them, and we're working with Alabama Power on that to get that resolved. The Highway 27 Sheffield improvement bid the project. Let you know that the latest we've heard from that is they are moving forward. AlDOT has approved that this will go to a signalized intersection, and they'll have that bid later this year. They'll actually go to letting later this year. I'm here in November, anywhere between November and December. That is from our consultant. The farmer's market property, that's been completed. Scheduled for work session for stakeholders regarding the future of medical facilities and services. Jonathan says discussions for fund study for the partnership with Enterprise Health Care Authority is underway. The 3-year water and street resurfacing plan, including a PCI study. You've got a draft of that in your packets that's there. So you've got phase 5, which is the proposed plan that's been vetted with Jonathan, Glenn, and myself. Is that in your packet?
It is.
Okay. Also, there you'll see there that there is a proposed plan, which is the next item, a 3-year water and street resurfacing plan. Glenn actually has taken that out more than 3 years, and I will tell you that is the first draft at the streets, and I'd ask you to hold those lists for future plans until they're truly vetted. The whole idea there is what we've seen is the PCI study, because of a road being so long, if they, depending on where the data is, the PCI numbers may look a little skewed. We like to drive every one of those streets before it becomes an official on the list and make sure that we're paving truly the worst streets first. So those are for your information and for your input for the following 3-year plan. Start the work on PV Sports Complex Phase 2. We've got permission to go to bid on the project list for the materials for the bridge. I'll get that out on the street this month for products for the bridge, and pending we don't have any hiccups there, it'll come back before this group late this month, 1st of July, and then we'll start building the bridge in July between PV Park Phase 1 and Phase 2. Also, we'll start grading work on PV Park for Phase 2. We've got a new truck, dump truck that's coming into service, and that truck is supposed to be delivered late this month, early in July. So we want to have that truck as part of our inventory for moving dirt on that PV Park project. Concerning the TAP grant, starting construction on the TAP grant projects within the next 30 days. We're resolving some conflicts between Alabama Power, power poles, and the final design, and getting a CEI contract with Poly underway. So should have that complete late in June, if not 1st of July. Wastewater treatment plant upgrade bid and award contract with the city engineer. We will, I've got a full debrief from our consultant on a schedule, but what I'll tell you is we will start the bidding process in October of this year, and our requirement by ADEM is to be under construction or under contract by the end of this calendar year, by the end of December. Fund a study for 2 specific connector routes, that's complete. Paved Dozier Road, that's actually started contractors on site this week. That's about a 30 to 45 day calendar day type project, so I would expect that thing to be finished sometime in July. Provide ADVA cash funding per the agreement. We're waiting on the word from the ADVA, and funding is available and ready. Council to get a report on the effectiveness of the public transportation program. Jonathan said that he'll brief during our June 18th work session on that item. Draft bylaws for the land bank, that's with our city attorney, or with the attorney. Slate of board members for the land bank. Recommendations from the mayor and Jonathan Tullos are awaiting appointment resolution from the city attorney. Report on the new recreation center user fees and operations. That was complete and done a couple meetings back. Adopt a plan with location for municipal elections. That's with the city attorney, and she's looking at the new recreation and aquatic center. Blight elimination program quarterly report. We're complete and on track with that. We should have, Thomas and I should have you another quarterly report here soon, probably next month. Concerning the homelessness, he had down here define the problem, explore solutions, and identify stakeholders, and hold a roundtable discussion in Q2. He had that the mayor's office meetings with the initial group is Wednesday morning of this week. We've got down online revenue and engineering to get all those online. Staff is, we briefed the council on this, on the progress of this in the past, and we're looking at options to do that. A-Trip 2, which is a grant for US 84 West and Alabama 134 West to 4-lane. That's on hold until the current A-Trip project is let. And you see LDOT schedule is staked for November of 2024, which is in line with what the consultant told me earlier today. And the Aviator project, Aviator Monument project update under Tammy, Kay, Emily, and Billy. June the 18th is on the 18th work session, so next work session, you'll get a full update on that one. And that is Jonathan's update on the Q2 goals, unless you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions or discussion on our Q2 goals?
Yeah, the meeting for the homeless, is that tomorrow morning?
It is scheduled, it says on here for Wednesday, so I would assume that'd be tomorrow morning.
Do you have a time? Do we know yet?
I do not. Does anybody know? I don't.
I do know that's tomorrow. Jonathan mentioned it to me.
I just heard
So
that.
if you want to reach out to Jonathan, if you want to attend, reach out to Jonathan.
Thank you.
Mayor, you don't happen to know what time that is, do you? The meeting with, I believe he's meeting with Johnny Belcher, right?
Sir, I can get you that time, and maybe during staff reports, I'll give you that later in this meeting, if that'd be okay.
Thank you, Barry.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on Barry's update there? All right, well, let's move to tonight's agenda. So we've got, of course, our roll call, prayer, and pledge of allegiance, and then approve the agenda. Then we'll move to our consent agenda, which is work session minutes from May 21st and the council meeting minutes from the same evening, accounts payable A and B, and then travel requests for the 911 district's workshop. So short consent agenda tonight. Any concerns on anything on the consent agenda? Anything needs to be broken out? Okay. Then we'll move on to privilege of the floor and staff reports. Got several old business items. So we laid over a few ordinances last meeting. If you remember, the unsafe structures and dangerous buildings, the declaration of appropriate municipal officials, and the weed abatement, which are all related to our unsafe structures and blight elimination program. Is everybody good on those? Anybody have any questions on those? Thomas or Barry, anything else we need to know on those? Nothing's changed. All right. And no need to discuss those this evening. All right, then we'll have a public hearing for Tacos Way ABC license request, and we've got the bids back on a cargo van for the police department. Chief Moore, anything on that cargo van? You want to? I know that's something we approved. It's in the budget, right?
Yes, sir. That was a budgeted request, and we got the bids back. And
Yeah, looks like we only got one bid. Did that bid come back around our budgeted number?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, now moving on to new business, we've got a franchise agreement with Unity Fiber Gulf Company LLC, so that's a franchise agreement. That's an ordinance that we're passing, so we'll need to, since there's no urgency behind that, we'll need to lay that over. Then we've got our 2024 CDBG grant application. Everybody aware of what that is? That's our demolition grant, something we do every year. So, Barry, you want to update us on that?
Yes, sir. At the council's direction, during a previous work session, we decided to go forward with another round of the demolition projects like we did before. And the same grant administrator, which is Connor.
Ewing Connor.
David Ewing would be administering the grant and helping us through that project. It'd be the same thing. It'd be a grant with a match on it. He's going to come back with a proposal for us after he submits in the preliminary application to find out what the grant actually looks like.
So how do you see this? I mean, obviously, we've done this in the past as pretty much the only funds we've made available to demolish unwanted structures. Obviously, we're moving ahead with our own program. How do you see these two programs working in parallel with each other?
So the way this grant program is written is if it is typically a residential structure that's uninhabited and the property owner submits that in for demolition on it, that it is considered as part of the demolition grant. In the past, we have handled those on a first come, first served basis on the list. And that's the way the grant program was set up. We couldn't cherry pick which ones we wanted and not wanted. They came to us, they were approved, they go through that process and incorporated. As we do this blight elimination program, and if a structure is deemed that it needs to be demolished, one of the options is to put it on the program and see if the program could be considered as a possible funding source for the demolition project.
So that's something when you're talking with the property owner, if they're actually talking, y'all could offer this as a solution.
It is. We could go down either one of the paths. If not, as part of the demolition proposal that we have from the city's project, we would also have a contractors on board to do just to like an on-call contract with some demolition contracts to do that. And there's several ways that the city can do this outside of the CDBG funds. We can get 2 or 3 of those and do it on an on-call type basis, or we can go out for bids and get a per square foot type proposal. And that way we'd say if the house is 2,000 square feet, we have a per square foot, we know what that price would be. The only other way to do that is to put them out in batches. And I'm a little concerned that would take too much time, so I'd rather do it kind of ahead and do it as have either an on-call, like a pre-qualified list of contractors to pull from, where we'd rotate to the list, or we do a low bid for the next, say, 1 year extendable to 3 years, and we do it per square foot. Both of those meet the requirements of the bid law.
Right.
But we'd use, to answer your question simply, we could use either one, and we would try to utilize the CDBG funds as much as
So
possible.
if we get the grant, it'll just stretch our dollars and allow us to do that much more.
Correct. And we were looking, last time I think we accomplished about 50 structures. So we're looking in the same order of magnitude. So we'd have about 50 to 70 is what David and I were talking about adding in this grant.
All right.
Is this these 8 houses that Thomas sent us the list of today?
No, sir.
Okay, what was that then?
You want to take that for the 8 houses?
So the 8 houses that I sent you today were the 8 houses that we were proposing in the first phase of our demolition program that we are voting on tonight to adopt. Those would be 8 structures that we would go through the process ourselves and then bring them to the council to decide, if they're a public nuisance, and then demolish them ourselves, not through the grant.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the 2024 CDBG grant? All right. Thank you, Barry. And next item is the USDOT Safe Streets and Roads for All programs. Who's going to tell us about that?
Yes, sir. This is the program that we currently had approved, and what you've got here is a motion for the mayor to sign all the paperwork related to that grant. The total grant's $180,000, and the city's portion matches is $45,000 for that grant.
And we'll get out of that a safety action plan.
Yes, sir. So the grant itself is to actually look at the causes for critical or for critical injury or fatalities at different intersections to evaluate what caused those reactions for those either deaths or critical injuries, and come up with a safety action plan that we can incorporate back into the city, whether that's distracted driving, whether that's inadequate geometry to the intersections that were causing these incidents, and come out with an action plan for what that would be. And also having some outreach programs in that to determine what we can do to make our streets safer for the residents that live and drive here.
All right. Any questions or concerns on that grant program? Okay. The next item is a SCPDC code enforcement. That's a software license and service agreement with South Central Planning and Development Commission for My Government Online software.
That's correct. That was a budgeted line item for this year. It's a program that we had identified that would help us with our nuisance properties to document those and make a little bit more transparent about where every property is in our nuisance issue, knowing that what we had currently did not meet the needs for documenting that and making it easy for anybody to be able to find out where those properties are. So this is a program that we had budgeted for this year, and this is to allow us to execute that agreement.
All right. Any questions, concerns on that software? Next item is to authorize police chief to execute a MOU with the Wiregrass Angel House.
Yes, sir. It's, we use Angel House. They give us benefits such as any major crimes. They'll come and clean up the victims' residence or whatever else, assist us with domestic violence. They're requesting us to sign the MOU. It's no cost to the city, no cost to the department. It's covered by other grants and stuff. But in order for us to use them through this next year, they've requested us to sign the memo of understanding.
All right. Any questions? I assume you've reviewed this MOU?
Yes, sir.
And we've
Yes,
had our
sir.
city attorney review it?
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. The next item is a request to purchase property. So back to Barry. This is, I believe, something that's been on the table for a while, right?
Yes, sir. So this is actually met with our previous city attorney today. We've been working on this for roughly 8 years, which is hard to believe. This is the last piece of parcels that's required for the total runway extension at the airport to take us from 5,100 feet to 6,000 feet. This will be a piece of property needed for phase 2. But this is 1.6 acres of property to be purchased from Mr. Strickland at a not to exceed amount of $24,000. This has been approved by the FAA. And it's a portion of this will be reimbursed back to the city.
All right. Any questions on that? All right. Next item is we've got several fire department items. Chief wants to, if you want to take all those, we've got a CPAP program, Eastside Fire Station flooring, Central Fire Station carpet, and that's all that you've requested.
So all three of these are approved budgeted items for fiscal year '24. The first item that you see was CPAT. Just to jog your memory, that's the physical agility test that's part of getting into the fire service. We've been working on it collectively, whether you remember it or not. We've been working on that together for about 2.5 years. This should be the final pieces that are needed to enact that. We got our agreement to be able to start testing, setting up. So it's kind of exciting that once we get this, we'll be able to finish that up and finish out the certification through the Firefighters Association. Does anybody have any questions on that
Any
one?
questions on the CPAP? All right. flooring?
East side flooring, this is work. As you know, we try to do most of the work in-house if we can. This is no different. This is flooring that's the same type of flooring that we purchased for the bay at East Side, this is for the interior of the station. We'll put it in ourselves. This is chemical resistant, slip resistant, heat resistant, and more than anything is very rugged, and we're able to put it in reliably. So it's.
Any questions on the east side flooring? All right, now we got some carpet at the Central Fire Station.
I don't think it's from the original building in 1963, but it's not far from it. And unfortunately, this is one of those few items that I do not have the manpower with the understanding of how to put in carpet. So this will just replace what we have there. They said they'd be willing to come in on a weekend. It shouldn't disturb anything. We'll get everything out of their way. They'll come in, take care of it, and we'll be good to go.
All right, any questions on Central Fire Station carpet replacement? All right, thank you, Chief. Billy, you're up. Got some parts and rec inventory.
Yes, sir. These, what we're asking to purchase request is for the new recreation center. The bleachers on bullet number 1, we're looking at 20 sets of bleachers for inside the recreation center, which 16 of them will be just set up for the main room and 4 for the Moose Oak Gymnasium. The other 4 would be standard bleachers, 4-row for the outdoor aquatic swimming area. If we needed additional bleachers for seating, activities, competition, we have them available. All of them are budgeted items. As a matter of fact, I'm glad to tell you that we are under budget with the purchase of those 2 different sets of bleachers. The other one is a 20 by 16 portable platform stage, and that was a budgeted item, which unfortunately we over on it, just slightly over about $1,000. But overall, we're saving about $10,000 between the 2.
On the 2 different items, we're
Yes,
under
sir.
10.
So we're about a $10,000 savings.
And all of those will be able to be stored in the storage rooms, right? When they're
Correct.
completely out of sight.
That's right. So whenever we're having, volleyball activities, we can put the bleachers up in the storage, or any other type of expo or entertainment activities. There's storage for them, so.
Awesome. Any questions on this seating? All right, thanks, Billy. Next item, Barry, I believe you alluded to this earlier, the on-call demolition.
Yes, sir. This is just allowing me permission to solicit proposals from the contractors. I want to talk to them about what we're up against and figure out the best way to solicit those proposals, and whether that be a pre-approved contractors list that we pick from on the list, or whether we do it in a square foot price. Either one of those is acceptable and done in other locations. But this is just to give me permission to solicit proposals.
And then you'll bring those back to us?
I'll bring it back for your approval. Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on that? All right, then we've got the streetlight modification request for Chapel Hill subdivision phase 1.
Yes, sir. This is just one of the standard, where we've got a new development, and they want to put in streetlights in there. And I just want to remind everybody as we get these requests, and it's the developer's responsibility to install the lights, like to put the light poles or the light fixtures in there. That is a cost of the development, and the city just picks up the electrical bill. We are getting some requests in the office and from people wanting us to just install the lights and pay the electrical bill, and that is not the case. Someone has to pay for the installation of the equipment, and we're just picking up the electrical bill for public safety concern.
All right, any questions on the streetlight modifications? All right, then we're going to go into the E911 board meeting like we do every month, and we've got accounts payable A. Tangi, do I see you in the back? Anything we need to know on this? Either accounts payable A, I think we do need to discuss these transfer of funds, which
Respectfully, we knew that this day would come, that we would have to transfer the funds from E911 to the city to take care of the renovation for dispatch. So
So
we're
that's
asking.
that's in the form of a change order. Obviously, the city's paying for City Hall renovations, including E911. So E911 board is transferring those funds over to the city, but it came in over budget, right?
So these are additional requirements that are needed just for dispatch E911 on top of the regular City Hall renovation project requirements. So what we're asking for is permission to transfer the funds out of the E911 funds into the city's general fund, and then what we'll have is we'll have actually a change order with the contractor and the Public Building Authority to add this to the project as an additional scope to the project, but we've got to move the funds from E911 to the general fund, and then the city will have to have an agreement with the Public Building Authority to transfer those funds over to the change. There's actually 3 different actions here. This is the first one to move the funds out of E911 over to the city's funds to pay the Public Building Authority.
So what were some of those changes?
So for example, there's 2 different types of power. There's regular power, there's backup generator power, there's redundant backup generator power. There's a whole plethora of electrical requirements. Most of them are electrical. The backup generator had to have dual fuel on it, which we didn't have at City Hall. So we'll have a generator set up for the whole City Hall, and then E911 will have specific generators set up for their electrical requirements. They also have data, redundant data, and triple redundant data that'll be put in there as well.
Okay.
HVAC, there's triple redundancy in the HVAC requirements also for that space.
And Tangi, we've confirmed that we've got those funds available, and
Yes, sir.
E911's going to be just fine.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on that funds transfer? All right, well, that was the only business for E911 board, so then we'll adjourn, go into mayor's reports, council comments. Any additions, deletions on the agenda? Everybody good? All right, get with me back to our work session packet. So just some housekeeping here for the FY 2025 budget meetings. Leanne had wanted me to get everybody pinned down on a date. Is everybody good for August 22nd? That's a Thursday, I believe. August 22nd. To do our FY 25 budget meeting. That would keep us on schedule to have our budget approved in September for the FY to begin in October.
I'm good with it.
All right, Sonia's good. Eugene? We typically been starting at like 9 o'clock, isn't that right? Greg and Scotty, y'all are good?
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, let's just tentatively call that 9 o'clock, August 22nd. One other housekeeping item, strategic planning for Q3. We've been doing that at 4 o'clock before our council meeting. Is everybody good for July 2nd at 4 o'clock?
Mhm.
Eugene, you good for that?
Good, yeah.
Greg, you're good? All right, so we'll do, Beverly, you got that, 4 o'clock, July 2nd, and 9 o'clock, August 22nd, for council work sessions.
And August will be here, obviously here.
Yeah, we'll need to do that here, right, because the farmer's market is not available. Yeah, we'll do both meetings here. All right, Chief Moore, we've got some proposed police staffing changes, and Ms. Huffman-Lewis.
Money. Okay, I was looking for Miss Deborah, but,
She's back there.
oh, there she is. I see her now. I guess I should put my glasses on. So we have a position, we have 3 administrative secretaries slash assistant positions. They were recently broken down, or all combined to one, but technically the patrol clerk, which Jenny Davis is in currently, the UCR clerk, which Kim Reeves is in, and then Sam Leonard's in the accident clerk. The patrol clerk's process or responsibilities had to do with patrol, entering citations, warning citations, keeping up with our stats on patrol, downloading videos, recording videos from the old system where it was in the car. We had to put them on a disc because we didn't have any storage or anything else. That obviously has pretty much gone away with all the computers that we have, all the software, all the servers we have. And her job has kind of become obsolete. But we didn't want to get rid of her or get rid of what she could do. My goal was in the future of next year requesting to adjust to add 2 more positions of evidence tech to assist investigations. Evidence tech is not a certified law enforcement agency or a certified law enforcement position. It's a civilian position, but they go out and they assist the investigators collecting evidence from a crime, or they will take evidence to the lab in Montgomery. Keep in mind, investigators do this about 3 times a week, at probably about 4 hours each time. Hour and a half up, maybe an hour there, probably about 5 hours coming back. That takes a lot of time away from what they can be doing investigating. So, what I would like to do in October, and that's a future conversation, is to create 2 evidence tech positions to assist investigations. Sam has a background in forensic science. I mentioned this to her just in passing. We were talking about the building and what was going to go where, and I said, well, my goal is to have this. She said she would love to do it. She just wants to come out of becoming being administrative and kind of cross-training to evidence tech. So that's what I'm proposing, is to do away with the patrol clerk position, which is Jenny's in that position. I've already talked to her too. Move her into the learning accident clerk's job, and then taking Sam and putting her in an evidence tech. The reason why I want to move on this as quick as I do is because we now have to, once probably beginning of August, hopefully, we have to move all our evidence back into our evidence secure area. That's a daunting task when everything has to be come in and logged and put up where it needs to go so we know where it's at. It was a nightmare getting everything out. We were getting cases from like the 60s that, so we've cleaned a lot of the stuff out, but now we want to put it back in an organized fashion. Sam's phenomenal at organization. So her helping out with getting that stuff back in and us trying to get her moved over there as soon as possible would teach her how to do that kind of stuff. And then in the next year, we can talk about where the evidence tech and the pay scale would actually range, because I don't think it's at a administrative assistant position, but certainly wouldn't be at a police officer's because they're non-certified. So that's just my proposal. And talking to Deborah prior to this is maybe just have her cross-trained to what did you say it was? It was not reinventing her job, but just cross-training her to learn another job for now.
Okay.
So.
So what are you going to need from I assume you're going to bring back some job.
I have a job
to create a new position.
Yes, I have that, but I think that would be best fit for next fiscal year when we're actually in the building and actually can start sending her to school.
Okay.
Or, if I if I open the applications, when I open the applications, I have a better idea. Right now, it would be budget neutral. I'm just doing away with patrol clerk, moving her to accident clerk, and then taking the accident clerk and giving her an additional duty or learning. So.
Okay. So you don't need any action?
I don't
council
believe
action currently?
I don't believe we do. I think
But before next fiscal
But that is,
year.
we just wanted to talk about my intent of the
Okay.
positions and doing away with one, but
All right,
not
does it-
losing employees.
Does anybody have questions? I think I understand what's going on there. So.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. So that is all we had for our work session this evening. Does anybody have anything else that we need to discuss in in work session? All right, well, we will adjourn from the work session, take about a 25-minute recess, and we'll reconvene at 6 o'clock in our regular meeting.